All right, good morning. Good morning. So, quick recap here, taking a look at the structure. What we had yesterday, if we take a look at the regular trading hours chart, was pretty straightforward inside day. So, typically, anytime you have that inside day, you want to watch for a break of the inside day's range. In this case, price is currently trading near, even up and through that prior day high. So that's going to be the focus for today, how price trades versus that prior day high on both NQ and ES. And buyers, their main objective is to hold price above that prior day high. We want to see any action above the prior day high being accepted. If it fails, right, if that prior day high fails, if that 18,700 area fails, we'll be back within the prior day's range. You can look at the prior day volume point of control and potentially down into that 550 level of interest or that pre-market low area. So that's NQ. Let's take a look at ES as well. It's pretty much the same type of setup here. We have yesterday's action as an inside day. And so for today, same type of approach. Want to see that prior day high reaction and whether the buying activity from yesterday can continue up and through that prior day high. So pretty straightforward. I'm going to be using one primary reference point for this morning. We don't have any economic data today, so nothing on that front to be watching for. Just purely a technical setup. Now, it could be a bit of a slower session because we do have CPI tomorrow. So let's see how this unfolds here. We've got about 8 minutes until the open. Ideal scenario for me would be some sort of retest of that prior day high to trade up into 18,820 area. You can see that is previously a key area of support from last week. Most likely will now serve as resistance, right? And then up into 18,900. And we're back into, at that point, back into last week's structure, right? All through here. There's your structure from last week. ES is quite similar. If that prior day high can hold, we're potentially looking at 55.10 up into 55.40. And again, that's just the structure from last week, right through there. So pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. ES right now into that 5,500 area. I'll be focused on NQ per usual. As always, we're just looking for that one or two easy money plays, right? No need to rush. Let the trade come to you. Let the setup come to you. Patience, definitely name of the game. Saw a lot of posts over the weekend in the think tank for the weekend homework, as well as just some of the DMs that I had talking about staying patient and how patience is helping the results so much. And that really is the name of the game. One of the most challenging things for traders is to sit and do nothing. So if you can master that, you're in a very, very good spot. So right now, just waiting for the open. Got about 5 minutes here. No plans to, no pre-market trades and no plans to be taking any entries before the bell. So let's see if we could get a retest of that prior day high. Here's a look at the past couple of days with a 5-minute regular trading hours chart. So essentially you have about 2.5 sessions of a range, right? Breakdown triggered here. Friday, trend move lower. Friday sets up an afternoon base. You can watch that structure to see how price is going to trade versus it. We get a gap higher, a retest of that base that then holds, and then a higher low. Now the tricky thing is that big picture context, right? Zooming out, what is this? This is all a trend lower. So we do have some time frame misalignment here as far as the trend is concerned, which always poses some challenges. All right, 2 minutes till the open. Keep an eye on that 15-minute bar here as we get into the open. Don't love the shape of that personally. Let's take a look at this actual bounce from the pre-market low. So a shallow fib is right there near that prior day high. The 23% fib, and then your 38% fib is right near the 700 level of interest. This is for the pre-market move, the overnight move. How's our volume profile looking? So we almost have the volume point of control shifting right here into the 760 area. We have the open here in about 20 seconds. Let's see how we're looking at the open. So there's the open. Volume point of control just shifted there into the 760 area. Caffeinated and hydrated, yes sir. All right, so there's the pre-market high. Nice push there. Coming into that 800, maybe a psychological level. But really what we're looking for is that 820. Buyers showing a very strong open so far. Decent opening drive opportunity there. Yeah, I like that opening drive setup. Now into 820 level of interest. Pretty nice open. Pretty nice open. Let's see how that structure sets up now. We've got opening drive move into 820. This is the inside day break, remember? Now we want to see how this unfolds, how the structure actually unfolds. So what you can do, you can take your fib if you want, just to kind of gain some reference points there. Here's a look at the 5-minute regular trading hours. 5-minute candle closes in 90 seconds here. Sellers showing up versus the 820 level of interest. Gotta love those levels of interest. Gotta love market structure. Now back near that pre-market high. First kind of pullback of the regular trading hour sesh. Let's see if buyers step in at any point here. There's your pre-market high. Keep an eye on that 5-minute. Pretty big wick there so far on that 5-minute. NQ back into that session volume point of control there right near 760. How are we doing with ES? So ES right near that prior day high right now. Technically made a session low there. Let's see if NQ gives a retest of the prior day high. First 5-minute bar is closed. So far the gap higher, very small gap higher, still holding. There's your session volume point of control, including the overnight. Check out that 15-minute bar. Still a ways before that one closes though. NQ coming in at the lows. I'll be looking at prior day high. Let's see the reaction here into prior day high. Coming into that prior day high right now. Challenge now is with this 15-minute bar. So let's see if buyers are actually responsive here or not. Yeah, the 820 reject was clean, definitely. All right, we're looking at prior day high. You can get rid of that intraday fib now. ES still right there under that prior day high. If you got your VWAP way down at 54.85, that's also that level of interest. Where's my profile here? There it is. NQ, new low of day. There's that prior day high test. Okay, let's see if there's any buying activity here. Keep an eye on that 15-minute. Wow. And then your gap fills down into 18,700. That's that level of interest. So if prior day high fails, you can look at the 700 level of interest. So far, that two decent setups here, the opening drive and then the 820 reject. So the 735 area is on watch. Can buyers defend it? So far, struggling. Definitely struggling. Let's see how this bar closes right here. Here's your 5-minute RTH. How's our profile looking? Okay. 760 still the dominant level here for volume profile. ES actually holding prior day high pretty nice now into that volume point of control. See if it can sustain. Now ES pretty similar to NQ as far as the structure. If prior day high fails, you're looking at that next level of interest, which is pretty much the gap fill spot as well. We definitely have some relative strength here in ES, up and through that volume point of control now. Watch that pre-market high right into 5,500, next upside reference point, and then of course the session high as well. NQ, pretty much no follow through here on this bounce. So sellers are going to try and make a new low of day here to push it into that 700. That'll be the gap fill trade. $15-minute bar closes in less than a minute here. Currently red with a big wick on top of it. There's a bigger view. So let's see this next 30 seconds, how it looks for that 15-minute bar. No data at 10 a.m. as a reminder. And ES still pretty much just oscillating here at the session volume point of control. Prior day high has been defended on 2 occasions now. So NQ coming back into that pre-market high. ES already testing that pre-market high. So if you grab the prior day high long, make sure you're trimming and protecting. Five-minute right now just shows pretty much barcode, right? And the 15-minute, it did close green actually, but this is just a big doji bar. So caution definitely warranted. Let's see how we're looking into 10 a.m. See how that structure looks into 10 a.m. So NQ making a stretch for that pre-market high. It's your nearest reference point, and then back up into the 820. What you can do is, again, take your intraday fib there. This is also the 50% retracement for that intraday move. Current range, current intraday session range is 100 points. It's pretty good. So let's see if buyers can break up and through that pre-market high. How's ES doing? So ES, not much to update here. Still right at that 5,500. That's going to be a big psychological level. So we got about 12 minutes, 11, 12 minutes till that 10 a.m. NQ currently just in the middle of the intraday range. 15-minute shows indecision with that big doji bar. Nearest levels, we're watching our prior day high, and then that 18,820 significant overhead resistance. Pre-market high, currently a reference point. Here's ES back near the session low. That is the prior day high as well. So far, this 5-minute just shows pure barcode, pure sideways. Keep that patience, 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 patience. So ES retesting the session low to the tick right there at 5492.5. There it goes with a new low of day on ES. Your next big level here is 5485. See where we're at with NQ. So retesting the low as well. NQ, you have VWAP almost catching up to price right now. Volume is pretty good. Five-minute just sideways. Yeah, that 820 prior breakdown point. Yes, sir. Eight minutes till 10 a.m. Should start to offer more clarity. We'll have more intraday structure to work with. We'll have another 15-minute bar closed. We'll have our first 30-minute bar closed. So NQ coming back into that pre-market high. If price can break that pre-market high, be looking at a potential very small intraday change in character here. Just looking at the kind of intraday regular trading hour structure there. And then check out this 15-minute. This can actually close as a hammer. Five-minute. Nothing happening here on the 5-minute, just sideways. There's NQ back into that pre-market high. Let's see if it can break this kind of lower high here intraday. Tested to the tick. Attempting to break now, coming into that 61% fib. So pushing higher, a little bit of an intraday change in character there on NQ. 800 going to be that next reference point. Just as a psychological level, you also have the 78% fib right through there as well. See if price can retest that 820. About 4 minutes till 10 a.m. No data at 10. See if we're right at 8:20 at 10 a.m. or not. How are we doing with ES? Let's see. So you get an undercut of the prior day high there, quick reclaim, a little bit of a spring setup, right? Back into that pre-market high, that 5,500 area. There's that pre-market high being retested on NQ. And we're 2 minutes till 10. Second 15-minute bar looks like another doji, so some big time indecision here. Let's see where we're at into 10. NQ retesting that session volume point of control. Pretty clear intraday range. 820 by 720. 100 point intraday range so far. And less than a minute till 10. Less than 1 minute. ES back into the lows. Back into that prior day high area, that session low area. Big red bar on the 15-minute there on ES. Here's 10 a.m. NQ 5-minute. What does this look like? Just pure barcode, right? So far there's pretty typical pre-CPI action. We've got back-to-back dojis on the 15-minute chart. Let's check out the 30 really quick. The 30 shows a doji as well. Indecision, right? One side not showing clear control. So NQ finding some support at that session volume point of control. Just in the middle of that intraday range here. Hourly doji as well, yeah. Not surprised to hear that. Let's see. 60, yep. Indecision. It looks like we got a Fed speaker going right now, just FYI. Typically those aren't anything, but they can definitely be market moving, so. As always, it's just a matter of having awareness. You want that awareness. ES currently sitting on the lows. NQ still in the middle of the current range. So ES actually much weaker now. See how this intraday structure continues to build out. Volume tapering down just a little bit. A little volume taper. Might see that volume point of control start to shift here. Let's see. No, still have quite a ways. So ES failing to hold that prior day high. VWAP as a reference point is there, but I'd be more interested in looking at the 54.85. NQ now with some relative strength, as it is nowhere near that session low, right? Five-minute, this just looks like coiling to me, just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. ES, there's your VWAP. Gap fills down into that 85 area, 82, 85 area. So you can watch the reaction there if you're trading ES. There it is right now. And here's NQ back into that prior day high zone. Actually, not quite. It's kind of that 23% fib. So prior day high can stay on watch here with NQ. (15-minute) shows 2 consecutive inside bars. Nice bounce. Nice bounce there. There we go. Buyer's showing up pretty nicely. Let's see if 820 trades here. Wow, ES 54.85. Gotta love levels of interest, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Let's see, 820. Show me some 820. Rejecting now. Back into the pre-market high. Intraday range, 820 by 720 here on NQ. They grabbed my trail. Just been hitting the range pretty much all morning. Big volume right now coming in. Here's that prior day high. Whoa, ES puking. Rejected that session volume point of control. Prior day high zone. Huge volume coming in on ES. Highest volume of the sesh. This could get interesting here. This could get very interesting. Let's see. Keep an eye on that 15-minute here on ES. Your next level is down into 65. You have a level of interest there, the pre-market low, and the prior day volume point of control on ES. NQ hasn't broken down yet. It's not yet following suit with ES. Let's see if it breaks down right now. $15-minute closes in 90 seconds. New low of day. Into 700. I would be cautious here. Unless you're short. Unless you are short. No buyers to be found in ES. So you're either short or you're pretty much calling it a morning on ES. Can look at that 54.65, but again, much like we discussed yesterday, in the face of this selling pressure, make sure that you have an appropriate response from buyers, like a very strong response. Here's NQ into 700. Failed inside day break. Let's see. Best visuals on that regular trading hours. Yep. There it is, back into the range. So 54.65 is your next level there. Big confluence in that zone, so I would expect buyers to show up there, but just wait and see. NQ into 700. You have VWAP right above now. New low of day. Gap is filled. Prior day volume point of control down into, what is that, 650? Yeah, the misalignment on the higher time frames makes the conditions tricky, like we were talking about right ahead of the bell, retesting that big structure area from last week. Zoom out a little. Prior support all through here, right? Context. Market is still pointing down. So some buyers versus the 700. I'm not involved currently. All of my trading so far was done versus the prior day high. I'll post a screenshot. I know that's kind of hard to see. Trading that intraday range. So back into that prior day high. See if a higher low can set up here. So this would be interesting if buyers show up here. This continues the series of higher lows, and this is part of what is making the current structure challenging. We have opposing forces. More of the near term is, from a structural standpoint, still bullish. But again, zooming out, you have price testing that prior breakdown point, and then look at this, just downward. So when the time frames, when you have that misalignment, you need to be more selective, making sure you're getting involved in strong areas. Can be definitely trickier. So NQ right now, we want to see 700 buyers showed up, right? So we want to see is price going to push back into that intraday structure up above the prior day high. Wow, today's flying. We're almost an hour in. Almost an hour into the sesh. So ES, this is purely no man's land for me. I continue to focus on NQ. Prior day high being rejected. Yeah, my dog is actually a little unwell right now. I'm taking her to the vet later today. So NQ into that 18,700 again. Prior day high rejected. See if sellers are able to flush the lows here. Or if buyers step in, back up through that prior day high. I'd prefer, I don't love this location. I prefer to see something like this. Or if this is going to break down I'll watch prior day volume point of control and then the pre-market low. But I don't love this section right through here. So I'm just waiting. Just waiting. We wait. Almost an hour into the sesh. What's ES doing? Still near the lows? Yeah, so rolling over versus value area low there. Now, if it can break this point, you'll have intraday change in character, potentially. But again, my focus is on NQ right now. It's kind of no man's land for me. I don't have a level down here, so. Oh, there we go, NQ. That actually looks better for buyers. Let's see if prior day high can hold now. See if this 5 minute can kind of break high. There it goes. Now we want to see that hold. And my thought is that this is now the range for the session could be set here. Essentially 700 by 820. And we would have another more neutral trading day, just a range day, right? Not a big trend day or anything like that. It's kind of the thought process currently. There we go, a little bit better. So now we want to see that prior day high holding. Session volume point of control still right there at 760. Keep an eye on this 15-minute closure here in 1 minute. And at that point, we'll be 1 hour into the sesh. Alrighty, coming into that pre-market high now. It's a better response from buyers, definitely. Decent little long setup there. So it didn't give that true test of the prior day high, but that was your entry. I don't know if anyone jumped in there. But here's your lower high, right? Price retests the 700. Okay, higher low. And then I mentioned if it can break back up through here, right? With the retest, there's your retest, and you get the extension. You got in there, Rich? Nice. Scalped it? Okay, good. So manage accordingly. Should be pretty deep in profit now. Pre-market high, good area to trim. Ideally, you go for 820 here. You go for near the session highs, but if you get trailed, you get trailed. Whatever. Nice. A lot of you got in there. Excellent. So I call that like a market structure based play. Looking at that intraday structure. We identify the change of character as a pretty significant event, at least in the near term, and then we try and find an entry. On that note, while we're talking about it, you typically don't want to be a buyer when on this candle right here, on the candle that actually triggers the change of character. Because if that ends up failing, you're going to be caught in a momentum trade without a clear structure point to set your stop. And it can be much trickier to make a decision without a structure on where to stop. With something like this, you have a very clear structure point. You can say, all right, the low of this candle, or you could even say, all right, prior day high is my stop, and treat it that way. So rolling over here versus that pre-market high. Look at our 15 minutes, just showing sideways, right? So I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of the range here. Into CPI. Yeah, that would be basically a breakout player spot on, and yeah, that's a little change of character. A little lower high right through there. Now we're back into the prior day high. So we want to see if prior day high holds again. How are we doing with ES? Let's see. Oh, wow. Back into VWAP. 54.85, good rejection spot. That's a good short. A little bit of the 2-hour trader framework there. So make sure you start to, like in this scenario, you can start to put your trails at break even or in profit, because prior intraday structure, buyers are going to be attempting to hold this area. Good action in ES versus that 54.85. Bounce and the short. Range day. Range day. Still looking at this prior day high area. Volume is really tapering down. Not a ton to do here. Not a ton to do. There's prior day high again. So let's see if this little area through here can resolve. Still pretty much no direction on the 5 minute, right? True range type of day. Although, what I will say is yesterday's also a range day, neutral type of session. Today's a range day, but look at the difference in the quality of the opportunities that we have. Today's action, obviously, way tighter. So both similar types of neutral sessions. Yesterday's action, definitely way better, right? Much better opportunities there. So prior day high holds again. Buyers making a push for that pre-market high. But again, the action's just getting tighter and tighter. Let's have a look at ES. So back into that 54.85. So I was talking about 5 minutes ago, saying if you shorted, you want to have your trails in. Because again, look at the lower high, then price breaks, you get a retest of the lower high. It's like the setup, if you're still with me, that we just talked about in NQ, but without the benefit of the prior day high there. So here's your lower high, price breaks above, it retests. There's your entry for a market structure based play. Now, of course, sellers will try and step in here at VWAP and the level of interest. If that's you, if you're short, that's fine, but just make sure you're paying attention to intraday structure. And this is how you can turn what is technically pretty much a failed short at VWAP into a profitable trade, or at the very least, just a scratch. Market structure, intraday market structure is very helpful. So here's that next 15-minute bar on NQ. No direction whatsoever. Just continuing with the sideways. Good day for that capital preservation. Get your 1 or 2 trades. Don't worry about the daily goals so much, especially if you're already green. Maybe come back for the afternoon session, see if things kind of woke up a bit, but this is that typical pre-big economic data print session right here. at least so far. So NQ back into that VWAP area, 700 just below. $15 till 90 minutes into the session. Let's see how the next 15 minutes unfold as we get into 11 a.m. Just staying patient. I'm looking at this intraday structure. I'm looking at 700 in the prior day high. Sellers want to see a break of that session low. Yeah, the 60-minute makes it much easier to see the primary structure. All right, prior range, breakdown, retest of that prior low, new range develops, breakdown. Here's a retest, that prior area of support. CPI will definitely give us more info. There's 700 holding again. Back into the prior day high. Next 15-minute bar is well underway. And we are 10 minutes until 11 a.m. Be 90 minutes into the sesh. So buyers need to see some action above that prior day high. Continues to be the main reference point given current price location. See if we have any update in ES. Pretty much still here. 54.85, keeping a lid on price. Session volume point of control should shift within the next minute or two. NQ, let's see if a new low is established here. There's your new low of day. Okay. So a little more clarity on the intraday action. Lower highs, lower lows. Then the question becomes, is this actually a push lower, or is this going to be like a spring type of setup up through the 700? Personally, I've not put on any fresh trades since this morning. So I'm just chilling. Keep an eye on 700 here. If buyers can hold, this could be a little bit of an intraday spring. ES did not make a fresh session low, so that is something to keep in mind as well. Challenge right now for that 700 long setup is you have VWAP right into here and then the prior day high. Makes it tricky in my opinion. So if you're trading that as a spring setup with the LOI, you want to trim into VWAP there right into 2024 area and then more at the prior day high. And then if price can actually break up through this point, go for volume point of control and then the pre-market high. Keep it on this 5 minute. See if this 5 minute shows any follow through. How we doing, folks? How's the day? Flat, green, red? Let me know. "90 minutes into the sesh, just about. Green, daily goal in the spring. Nice. Green. Good, 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 good. That's good. That is good. Small green, not a favorite day. Green. Solid. Solid. That's pretty good. Survival on a day like today is always a win. It's always going to be a win. And yeah, I agree. It's not my favorite type of day. So there's VWAP from the 700 Loy spring setup. Again, buyers looking for that prior day high and acceptance above that prior day high. Let's see how we look into 11 a.m. here. How's our profile looking? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Won't be any change to the profile for a bit. Let's see if ES ended up. Yeah, volume point of control shifted on ES there into 78. That's also the weekly profile point. Get this 5 minute. So if buyers can reclaim 54.85, that would be significant for ES today. For those of you that trade ES, continue to keep an eye on that level. NQ just shy of the prior day high there. That little blip higher. Check the 15 minute on NQ. So if buyers can show a little bit of follow through on that 15 minute, that just means action up through that 15 minute bar high. You may get a retest of the pre-market high and maybe even 820. So that would be something to look for if you're still trading. If you're still keeping it going today. Let's see, we have 11 a.m. here in less than a minute. Chilled out, nice. That was a good looking setup. I like when the signal bar looks like that. Right at the level of interest with a really long tail. Those are some of my favorites. And back within the structure in the same minute. I particularly like those. All right, folks, we are 90 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here. Good job today. Like I said, survival on a day like today is definitely a win. If you have questions, you know where to find me. And we'll keep it going in the think tank here shortly. Need to grab some water and a snack. But I'll see you guys in the think tank. Thanks for jumping in.